seeing my face. Anyway, it's been a while since I've made a video for you guys, so I figured I'd make this one, sharing it with you inside of my newly created Merkabrah Meditation chamber. And you know, it's got its power elements in all four of the directions, representing north and the earth, south and the air, west and the water, east and the fire. And to help with our conversation tonight, I brought these two broken crystals because once inserted back into the earth, broken side in, the earth pretty much takes care of any of those fractures and breaks, and they become, once again, especially for ones that were double terminated, once again fully functional crystals of the exact, if not higher value than before they were cracked. Now, this being a teaching and a meditation at about 1:45 in the morning, give or take 5 to 15 minutes before the moon is going to start rising above the horizon, I'm going to use my right hand to put the yin onyx crystal to my left side. And I don't know if you guys can really tell here, but in the pyramid, as I put my quartz crystal with my left hand to the right side. So I don't know if you guys can actually see, being it's so dark and I only gave a few little pictures about the actual Merkabrah Cave Meditation Center. In the very core of it, I buried a bunch of copper and zinc that I had been letting themselves charge each other in salted down vinegar for about 3 nights, and on the 3rd night it rained, overflowing the bucket, and that was just perfect because the rainwater is so charged with so many ions. It just brought this whole new level of energy to what I had already been charging to build a foundation for my copper and silver cross of Christ. I punched into the main center directly under the copper and crystal obelisks when they're directly straight up. And the fact is, I pushed in the Christ just enough so his feet are on the ground. So it's more like a meditating Christ than a sacrificed Christ. Because who would want to honor sacrificing one of the greater humans that has ever lived on this earth? A video about the good and the bad, and about how it was so easy to attract people using the teachings of the Son of God being murdered by a brutal days or possibly even weeks of torture until he was just left to die of starvation and dehydration in the sun. And then this has become the symbol for 35 to 40% of the world's religious people, whether they're Catholic, Christians, and why? If you could guess why that this symbol of Jesus Christ, crucified on a cross, suffering in the last moments of his life, could become one of the most holy symbols to a large portion of humanity. And even those who aren't in any way related to the religions of Jesus, but are maybe Buddhists and Hindus and Taoists, Muslims, I mean, they still know and most likely respect this image. And that's got to tell you something pretty serious about the psychology of our species. Because as I myself have been going through the same trials and tribulations that I am certain so many of my brother and sister humans have been going through, the suffering and the joy, the good and the bad, meeting such wonderful people followed by meeting such terrible people, and this ever-going cycle of us learning from one person and teaching to another. And okay, 2,000 some odd years ago, the world wasn't ready for a Jesus. The people in power were not ready to give up their positions. Now, the people who once were the families, the bloodline families, and all of the power, they've had a whole split load ton of it stripped right out of their hands by their own greed. The creation of the television and the belief that the television was, by all people in America and around the world, going to be this great educational system where people could watch from their own homes these programs that could teach them and they could learn from and connect to the society through daily news programs and all of these great things, which actually stemmed from the radio, led to the television, and then eventually we got to the internet. What happened was the internet came out at such a perfect time of cosmic alignments. These groups weren't ready for the massive amount of information and personal downloads that individuals were about to be able to get. All the billionaires that were going to be made off of these .coms booming, from $100,000 startups to $500 million companies then getting sold to, major companies. And Google, completely outside of the Illuminati families, has become I believe, they're the richest corporation on the planet. They have the most digital money, because despite the fact that whether what we believe is money is real or not, it's all just a system of faith and trust that this value. So faith and trust. And you know what? Not many of us really trust our governments anymore. We don't know how much gold and how much silver they have in their holding tanks to back out the currency that they're currently producing and sending out to all of their friends and buddies on Wall Street in the billions of dollars at 0% interest, just so games can be played, stocks can be inflated, and the illusion of wealth can be held on to for a certain amount of time longer, only able to control this understanding of free energy being available to us right now. Whether it's the energy coming from the sun, That is all 24 hours a day. You know, the Earth is orbiting the sun, spinning, getting that light to feed every single other organism on this planet, their food sources. Everything survives off of the light of the sun, but what? Humans? No. We decide to take our energy from the blood of the earth. Then, there's also the atom. And I'm not talking uranium and radium and radioactive, unstable, dangerous atoms that could cause massive explosions or in an extreme scarcity that the power would be owned and controlled by the same elite. No. Right now I've created a vortex of different elements connecting with the magnetic electromagnetic field of the earth and different elements, so that when I meditate inside extremely charged ionic oxygen tank. I mean, literally, positive energy is being created by the structure that I sit and meditate in. Once I start pushing out my positive energy, that just starts fractalizing and multiplying in the matrix of what is our reality. And the whole idea of mainstream media having made this movie called The Matrix, like the Matrix should be a bad thing. Like, it should be bad that we're interconnected in some sort of illusionary or non-illusionary matrix. Whatever we are, we exist within a matrix. And that's a beautiful thing if you know how to take advantage of it. If you know the energies of the north and the south. The first two you gotta learn. What I came here actually tonight, before I get too far off topic with my, just dotchiness, is the positive and the negative, the yin and the yang. You know, what you give and and what's receiving it, who you give to and who's receiving it, who you take from it, what are you giving back for it? You know, are you buying organic foods and giving your money to Monsanto, a terrible corporation creating tons of new diseases? Are you buying prescription medicines from a pharmacy that acts as laboratories working on developing new ways to biochemically create diseases through supposed nutritional supplements, so that then now they can get people to come in, and all of a sudden these people have diabetes and high blood pressure and arthritis and bone aches and body aches and pain management and forgetfulness, and by the time they're 60, 70 years old, their whole life savings that should be being passed on to their children is going into all of their medical bills when they're, past their prime of living their lives, because they've lived within a system of an illusion. If you live within a system of your own truth, and you work within the matrix and the energy it has to offer you, and your own truth, and you absorb that energy, give to that energy, take from that energy, you could easily live to 80, 100, 150 years old without having to be on 10, 12 different medications. But that's the state of the world that we're in. People have forgotten what is important, what our real values are. anywhere but where it is needed exactly the most at exactly the best time. And save 20% of that energy to breathe out of your third eye and focus it towards something that you believe in. Because you know what? You are a beautiful, amazing, powerful creation of the union of the earth and sun, the mother and father, the genetic evolution to humankind, and our level of consciousness to now be able to comprehend this type of material. And you breathe in through the hands, through the feet, and you breathe in through the mouth, feeling the air, breathing out, falling from your chest,